Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing, and we're back with another track guide, this time for the Formula 4 at the Mobility Resort Motegi for the FIA F4 Global eSports Championship presented by Moza. This has a $35,000 prize purse, so for your chance to win your share in it, you need to finish in the top 10 in your global region at the end of this season. Any questions, let me know in the comments, and as always, we will do the normal hot lap breakdown and then back in the cockpit one final time, the driving line on. Best of luck in this week's races. Let's start the hot lap. All right, let's start. So smashing it along the main straight, looking for the 50-meter board, breaking up to about 80%. Quick trail off and then a long trail off, as you can see. It's a weird one, that one. Looking for the 70-meter board coming up here on the right-hand side. I'm going to brake up to about 70% again. Quick trail off down to third gear. Gently back on with the power. Absolutely flat through turn 4. As we move slowly back over to the left-hand side. And again, we're looking at just before the 50 board, braking almost up to 90%. I am running at 55% brake bias here. 55%. We're flat through turn 6. And we're looking more or less at the 50 board for turn 7. Not braking too hard. Smoothly back on in fourth. Little dab on the brakes. And again, gently back on. 50 board for turn 9. Down to third gear. Cutting the corner. Getting on the gas. Bit slippy on exit. Just watch yourself there. As we come up to the turn 10 hairpin. 50-meter board. Braking hard. Trail it off, down to second gear, and again, just gradually easing on with the gas pedal. This is where we can have a little relax. And again, just after the 100, braking almost up to, what, 95% there, down to third gear, up to fourth. We're going to go flat. Now we're going to trail off on the brake. Down to third gear, cut the corner, exit wide. Don't lose too much time for that. And over and across the line in a 1:51.409, which I'm happy enough with on these Season 3 tyres. Right, let's do the breakdown. All right, let's charge through the old breakdown. So first braking marker is just before we hit the 50, as you can see. So just before we hit the 50. Braking briefly up to about 80%, and we trail off the majority of it before we actually get near the apex. Now I'm just holding that brake there at around 5%, and that's just to keep the balance in order. And then I trail it off a little bit further, and then once I'm through that sort of first apex and I'm in the middle of the 2, I start building back up on the gas. Cut the corner of the second apex, i.e. turn 2, and now I'm back onto 100% as I come off it. I'll send you out wide, that's fine. Back over to the right hand side. And we're looking for the 70-meter board. So as we get to the 70-meter board, braking again briefly up to about 70%. Standard trail off in third, getting back on the gas, or starting to at the apex. And then getting up to full power. And then we're just going to cut this corner and get, and yeah, full power. I'm recording like 9 track guides in a row here. Right, 50-meter board is going to be our brake marker for turn 5. So again, braking nearly up to 90%. Trailing that off down to third gear and getting on the power nice and early. So we're almost at 100% at the apex. And then just as we come off it, we're back up to 100. We're going to be flat through 6, a nice wide entry. Cutting the corner very slightly. 50-meter board is going to be our braking marker for turn 7. And it's not as hard a braking zone as you think, so we're only braking up to about 55%. Trailing it off, dropping it down to 4th, and we're getting back on the power before the apex. So just holding it at about 2/3 power. I'm going to straighten my wheel and go up to full power, and then just a little dab on the brakes. And then starting to build back up in 4th gear and getting to 100% more or less at the apex of turn 8. Back over to the right hand side. Now this is a corner where I was losing so much time until I managed to get it right. So try and watch what I'm doing here is my suggestion. We get to the 50 board, braking briefly up to about 75%, dropping it down to third, quick trail off, and now you're wanting to get back on the gas nice and early. So I was getting on the gas really late because it's quite slippery, but you've got to cut the corner. I'm on like half to 2/3 pressure on the gas pedal. And now as I straighten my wheel, I get up to 100%. Looks a lot easier when you slow it down. 50-meter board for the hairpin or just before it. And again, we're braking quite hard, only up to about 80% though. Trail it off down to the apex, dropping it down to second gear, start building back up on the power at the apex. And again, as I straighten the wheel, I get up to 100%. This next bit's very straightforward. Right, it's just before the, or is it? Yeah, just before the 100 meters for turn 11. Braking up to about 90%. It's quite, because you're going very fast. So that's the reason why it takes quite a while to slow it down. Change down to third gear, starting to get back on the gas. Only about 2/3 pressure at the apex. And again, just as we come off the apex, back up to 100. Back over to the right hand side, up to fourth gear. We're going to go flat through turn 12. And we're going to straighten the wheel out here. And then more or less as we do that, we're going to come off the gas, a little dab on the brakes. So I was braking too hard for this corner as well at first. Sort of trail that off. After the second apex here, I actually dabbed the brakes again, dropped it down to third gear. You wanted to cut this corner as much as you can without getting the X. Up to 100%. There's no X there if you keep the center of your car over the rumble strip. And over and across the line. Right, we have one final version coming up next with the driving line on without me talking. Enjoy.